Hello, my beautiful human. Welcome back to the She Did an Anime podcast. This is your shakeup, and we are going to dive right in and talk about all things networking confidently and really how to overcome that social anxiety and imposter syndrome. And I will tell you right now, I was on a podcast last week and someone had said, how is it so easy for you to attend all of these events and show up? And I could not stop laughing because at no point is it easy for me. I have the worst social anxiety going into an event that I am not planning. I think it really stems from feeling this lack of control and not knowing what the situation's going to be like, especially if I go somewhere by myself. And when I tell you, I will go networking, and I remember this specifically with Create and Cultivate. I was so excited to go to my first Create and Cultivate. I was going alone. I didn't know anybody there. I knew one person was going to attend, but I didn't know what time she was going, nothing. And I remember I went, got a blowout at Dry Bar. I Ubered to the venue and there was already a line, and my heart just sunk at the fact that I have to get out of this Uber and I'm in heels. And I actually feel more anxiety when I am dressed up because I feel like, oh my God, am I overdressed? I just overthink everything. Do you ever feel like that? And I get out and I'm like, oh my God, there's a line. I have to now stand in line. I'm standing by myself. And I realized pretty quickly a lot of the women that were going to those events were also by themselves. And I'm like, okay, chit-chatting with the person in front of me, a person behind me, but I always wait for them to initiate the conversation, which is really funny because I'm such an extrovert, but also such an introvert. So I waited in line. We checked in, we went inside. I got my bag. Now everybody kind of just goes their own way. There was breakfast. I remember going to get breakfast and just sitting in a corner. And I'm like, I am terrified. And then I'm like, okay, there's a little market. Let me go explore and see what they have, the clothes, whatever. I turn the corner, and I actually said this when Jacqueline Johnson was a guest on our podcast, and I turn the corner. Lo and behold, it is Jacqueline Johnson staring right at me, the founder of Create and Cultivate. And I have just admired her and her career growth and her story ever since I became an entrepreneur. Before that, I actually didn't know what Create and Cultivate was or anything. I just never really attended events like that outside of what Yahoo had coordinated for us. Anyways, so I see her and I'm just like, oh, hi. And I smile and I just beeline it somewhere else. I'm like, okay, get me the hell out of here, away from this woman. I have nothing to say to her. It's really funny now, just looking at how life has played out. But I remember just going to a corner and trying to be alone. And I would just stay in that corner or walk around. And I was like, I just felt so much social anxiety, but I also felt so much imposter syndrome. I felt like I did not belong there. I was like, oh my God, everybody's so cool. Everybody knows each other. I feel so uncomfortable, so awkward. And then I remember one girl came up to me. I was standing next to this picture area, a backdrop. And she was like, hey, if I take a picture of you, do you mind taking a picture of me? Mind you, I never even asked for a picture. And I was like, yeah, actually, I would love that. And I had a tripod in my purse, but you could not pay me to take that tripod out and place it there and take a picture of myself in front of all these people. No, girlfriend. No, I am ballsy, but not that ballsy. I get so nervous. And so, which is again, so funny to think because this is what I do for a living. Anyways, she ended up taking a picture of me. I took a picture of her and we mingled, and that was that. The second they said, oh, doors are open, you can go find your seat, beelined it straight, first seat, front row, sat there. Because one, I love sitting in the front row. If I'm paying for an experience, I want to experience it. I want to consume all the content. I am there, front row, notebook, pen, and I'm ready to go. But also because I don't want to sit behind anybody. I don't want to mingle. I just want to sit, mind my own business. You can't really talk in the front row. So sat in the front row, watched everything. And I realized pretty quickly that every single person felt the same exact way. And after that event, it was October 2021. That was their small business summit in New York. After that, I said to myself that I was going to do a better job at actually networking. I would go to these events to just check it off the box, and it needed to be more than that if I wanted to get more out of it. And I would see the girls that are thriving at these events and they're networking. They're literally walking around talking. They have business cards. They're putting themselves out there. I was like, if I want to make an impact, if I want more people to know who I am, I have to get the hell out of my way. I started kind of playing around with different ways to help my anxiety. anxiety. And that's what I'm going to talk to you about today. So the first thing that we're going to dive into really focuses on overcoming social anxiety. And I don't know if I've like completely overcome it, but it has helped me so much doing these things. So the first thing is going to be preparation. I cannot stress enough how important it felt for me and how much it helped my social anxiety to really prepare myself for the event. Like, okay, what is the content? What are the sessions? What do I want to get out of this from a content perspective? And who's attending? Are there speakers that are there that I really want to network with? Are there attendees that I know like tagged the event that are going that I can DM beforehand and like try to network and try to make friends before I get there? I felt like the more I was prepared with knowing what is going to happen, what the schedule is, like when are breaks, literally knowing when lunch was comforted me because I'm like, okay, I can walk away during this session. During this session, there's a break. You know what? I'm not actually interested in this topic, so I'll go here. It really helped me show up way more confidently and not have as much social anxiety. The second thing I did, and it felt really uncomfortable, like originally or outside of my comfort zone, but I started visualizing how I wanted to show up for this event. Like, how did I want to be perceived and how, like, what parts of me was I ready to kind of like put out there? And I know for me, like, I have such a bold personality, but when I have social anxiety, that just gets hidden so much that I'm like, okay, if I want to showcase like how bold I am and how bubbly and fun and happy I am, well, maybe I can do that through the colors that I wear and the outfits that I wear. So I actually very intentionally wear bright colors. I wear my hats. I wear all pink. I wear like bright dresses and heels because that will help me feel like even if I'm quiet, well, then I can still show that there's like this like loud side of me. And so I really start thinking about how can I show up, like visualizing what it looks like for me to be in this room, the conversations that I'm having, the people that I'm meeting, like what does that look like? Then the second thing is really starting to practice like mindfulness and doing some breathing. I know like if you don't have social anxiety, you're going to be like, I don't know what this woman is talking about. But if you do, you know how important it is to just control your breathing and not feel like your body is in like fight or flight. But truly, like I have to sit there and just like take deep breaths. My friend Regina, who's a breath work, taught me do 4, 4, 4. And I've also learned 4, 7, 4. So breathe in for 4, hold it for 4, let go for 4. And it really helps calm me down, but also give me some energy into going into the situation. Fourth thing about going into a networking event and really trying to control like my social anxiety is trying to be more grounded when it comes to like my intention, but also like when I'm there, being really, really in the moment and understanding like what is happening, like consuming the content, feeling really grateful that I'm there, like, being able to like tap into my senses, like smell the smells, view everything, like have the food that's there, the drinks, like really be grounded and try to just experience this as much as I can. That has helped me so, so much. And then going into imposter syndrome, for me, the reason why I had so much social anxiety was because I kept thinking that I did not belong. I kept thinking, oh my God, these people are so much more like further ahead than I am. They know more, they have more connections, they've been here more often. And I realized like those thoughts actually never go away and they come up for every single person. Every time I spoke to someone at these events, they would say the same exact thing. Like, I'm terrified. I came here by myself. And I'm like, me too. Like, me too. I am terrified. And they're like, there's no way you're terrified. Like, you don't come off like that. And I'm like, wow, inside I'm literally shitting myself. Like, what are you talking about? And so I would start to really like take control of my thoughts. And the first thing that I started thinking about is like really like my accomplishments, not just like my professional accomplishments, but my personal accomplishments, and knowing that like I belong here. And I would literally say things like, I belong here. I belong here. I have done the work. Like, I'm here for a reason. I can hold my own, And so really thinking about like my skills, my achievements, like what am I really good at, and developing my personal brand going like beforehand, like actually like thinking about what do I want people to know me for? What is my legacy that I want to leave behind? Like, how do I want people to feel? That helped me so much going into these sessions, because if I had nothing else to say, I can at least talk about like one thing that I do and focusing on personal branding and helping women build confidence. And like once I talk about that and I shift the conversation to like, oh, what do you do? What do I do? And then we start talking into, oh, like, oh my God, I have a 7-year-old. Do you have kids? Oh no. Okay. Like we just like start getting to know each other. And it helps so much with, for me, overcoming imposter syndrome. The second thing is really not trying to focus on like, oh my God, like I haven't hit this milestone, or like, oh my God, like my failures or anything like that. Like I would really try to control like the negative self-talk and that thoughts and the mindset going into it, because I'm like, what am I doing? Like, why? This doesn't benefit me at all. And I say this to Sebastian all the time, actually. I'm like, well, he'll be like, oh, well, I can't do it, or I'm going to fail, or oh my God, we're going to lose. And I'm like, how does that benefit you? Like, what does that do to make you feel better? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. It does not help the situation whatsoever. So like, why do it? And so outside of positive affirmation, really finding a community and like mentorship for me, like my mentors, my peers, my support group, like I will let them know, hey, I'm attending this event. Like I feel anxious, and they will help me through it and literally normalize my feelings and let me know that I'm not alone. Really thinking back to like every event I go to, whether big or small, like if I walk in there by myself, like I always feel like that social anxiety and imposter syndrome. And I try to just like reframe my thoughts, take control of my, like the way I show up, but also like the energy that I'm bringing in. I always say like the energy that you bring into a situation determines the outcome of that situation. Repeat it. The energy you bring into a situation determines the outcome of that situation. So why wouldn't I control that energy and make sure that I have this amazing outcome from putting myself into these situations, these rooms, these opportunities? Really getting clear about like what I want people to know me for and how I want to show up helps so much. I hope that this is your sign to step out of your comfort zone, go to an event, speak up, like really put yourself out there. Even if you are scared, I want you to do it anyway. Even if you have social anxiety, I want you to do it anyway. Even if you're feeling imposter syndrome, I want you to do it anyway, right? I love you. Let me know how this supports you. Let me know if you also have some social anxiety and imposter syndrome going to events, and if there's anything that you do that helps as well. I'll see you later. Love you. Bye. And don't forget, no matter what, she did it anyway.
You did it, Mom.